Jennifer Tysing proposes a salary increase for herself and other township employees. What the township board thinks of her new budget proposals. And the man accused of killing a police officer in Terre Haute appears in court. What his attorneys are arguing in his defense.
And any rain that's left out there will be coming to an end. Cooler and drier air moving in, and plenty of sunshine for the weekend. I'll have that forecast straight ahead.
News 18 at 11 starts now. WLFI Lafayette. News from where you live.
Good evening and a very happy Friday to you all. I'm Meredith Hackler. We thank you so much for joining us. Wabash Township trustee Jennifer Tysing is proposing a salary increase for herself and other township employees in the upcoming budget. The salary raise would be for the trustee, the board members, and the deputy trustee, which is currently a vacant position. As we've previously reported, the trustee also laid out her budget proposal for how to staff the fire department. The trustee proposed that volunteers would be paid per run with a set limit on how much they could earn within a year, which means if a volunteer were to reach the maximum amount before year ends, they cannot be called for any runs until the following year. These proposals are not something that the board agrees with.
Our community is still struggling and recovering from a pandemic, and on top of that, the trustees claiming we're losing our firefighters because we don't have the budget and we don't have the finances, but we can still make room for even modest gains for ourselves. I don't think that's fair.
Valentin says if the board and the trustee don't come to an agreement on a budget proposal, the township would automatically default to the current budget, meaning they would still have money allocated for the 3 paid firefighters. A Lafayette funeral home wants Fairfield Township trustee Talitha Coles to return the unclaimed ashes of several people. As we've reported, several former employees allege Coles wanted to press those ashes into diamonds. She says she's storing them in a safe in her office instead of Greenbush Cemetery. Jonathan Fisher of Fisher Funeral Chapel sent an email to Coles, News 18, and the county commissioners. He wrote, "The ashes, quote, have not been laid to rest as you led us to believe." Coles responded, "She is holding the ashes, quote, until I'm allowed to do my job and put them at Greenbush." News 18 reached out to Coles about her plans for the ashes, but she did not respond. An update to a story we've been following out of Terre Haute. The man accused of killing police officer Greg Ferenczi appeared in court today. As we've previously reported, Shane Meehan is accused of confronting Detective Ferenczi and shooting him back in early July. Meehan's attorney argued that he has a history of mental health conditions like post-concussion syndrome, a traumatic brain injury, a seizure disorder, Parkinson's disease, and chronic pain syndrome. They said he was put on permanent medical leave from his job at the federal prison complex in Terre Haute because of his medical history. His attorneys also said he had previously been hospitalized related to suicidal ideations. Meehan is charged with premeditated murder of a federal agent. He's being held in an unidentified county jail. The Tippecanoe County judges are recommending masks in the courthouse to protect those who might otherwise avoid public spaces during the pandemic. As we've reported, the recommendation is based on guidance from the CDC and the local health department. Masks are required for jury selection and other proceedings where social distancing is difficult. Superior Court 2 Judge Steve Meyer says he wants to keep everyone safe from the growing threat of the Delta variant.
Oftentimes people coming to the courthouse are required to be here. Either they're summoned to be here or they're here as a party to a case. And so, we take that responsibility seriously to make sure that we look out for the overall health of everyone that appears here in our courtrooms.
As we've reported, county courts are behind on jury trials due to COVID-19 related delays. Meyer encourages everyone visiting the courthouse to bring a mask just in case. Turning over to weather now, it was another hot and humid day out there with some rain sprinkled in. Meteorologist Lisa Montgomery joins us now. But Lisa, the good news is we have a beautiful weekend on tap.
We do. We really timed this out nicely. We had a crazy week as far as the heat, the humidity, those triple index values, and all the stormy weather. Some quiet weather now for the weekend, and even for this evening now, we are looking much better. It is quieter on the radar. You can see just a few light scattered rain showers. This takes us back 3 hours. So we did have some scattered thunderstorms move across the area, especially the southern sections. That is moving off to the south and to the east. So we've got some cooler, drier air moving in. Look how nice and quiet and clear it is to the north of us. That's going to be spilling in here, giving us some lower humidity values and also some lower temperatures. So all the rain is making its way out. High pressure is moving in, giving us plenty of sunshine for the weekend. And you can see what we're looking at for overnight tonight, midnight, just a few clouds around. We've got that northeast wind now, 69, 3 a.m. 63. Take a look at our morning low. Some areas are going to be around 59 degrees. We'll have plenty of sunshine, a little on the cool side, but we've got a nice looking weekend. We'll take a look at that coming up in a few.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much. The Taliban is on the verge of reclaiming most of Afghanistan with just weeks to go before U.S. troops leave the country on August 31st. As Natalie Brandt reports, the group's resurgence is being met with fear and dismay from many, even as 3 U.S. battalions are on their way to Kabul.
As the Taliban offensive continues to sweep through the country, the Pentagon says the bulk of the 3,000 U.S. troops will arrive over the weekend to help evacuate U.S. diplomats and Afghan allies.
We are certainly concerned by the speed with which the Taliban has been moving.
The group now controls more than half of Afghanistan's provincial capitals, including Kandahar, Afghanistan's second biggest city. Fighters are said to be within 50 miles of Kabul.
There is no doubt at what's going to happen here. The Taliban is going to take over the government probably in a matter of weeks.
As concern grows on the ground, the United Nations warns a humanitarian disaster is unfolding.
Afghanistan is spinning out of control.
CBS News spoke with a woman who said she wants to flee, but her family is planning to stay.
I'm afraid of being killed. I'm totally sure that I will not survive here.
President Biden has defended his decision to withdraw U.S. troops from the country by the end of the month. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
President Biden hasn't taken questions about the Afghan conflict since Tuesday. The United Nations is urging Afghanistan's neighbors to keep their borders open, potentially allowing tens of thousands of people fleeing Taliban fighting to reach safety. Tippecanoe County's population has grown by more than 13,000 people in 10 years. That's according to data released by the U.S. Census Bureau yesterday. The county had a population of 172,780 in 2010. That grew to 186,251 in 2020. Carroll County saw a slight increase in population. It went from 20,000 to 155 in 2010 to 20,306 in 2020. Benton County saw a decrease in its numbers. The population dropped from 8,854 in 2010 to 8,719 in 2020. Statewide, more than half of Indiana's counties lost population during the last decade. U.S. Census figures show the state's growth around Indianapolis and its other largest cities. Census data shows Hamilton, Boone, and Hendricks counties in suburban Indianapolis all had population gains of more than 20% between 2010 and 2020. A nearly $1.4 million project will add a parking lot, green space, and new wing to the Audubon Public Library. It's part of the library's effort to become a centerpiece in the community. The project replaces a blighted building on the town's main street that used to be a car dealership and gas station. Library Director Letitia Provo says the previous owner sold the land to the library for $1. She says the library is outgrowing its current footprint.
When the Wi-Fi is utilized during our off hours, we have people sitting on the curbs and sitting in their cars utilizing that. We would just like to offer some seating space outside.
Provo says the library last year offered 234 programs and rented out its meeting spaces to more than 2,300 people. She hopes the library will become a feature in Audubon's street festivals and 150th anniversary events. The city of West Lafayette officially unveiled its new city hall with a ribbon-cutting ceremony this afternoon. City officials say the building will serve as the new home to West Lafayette. The interior of the building has been drastically modified to a modern and open space. It's named after longtime West Lafayette Mayor SONYA Margerum, who served for 24 years. Her son, Eric Margerum, is blown away at the transformation.
This felt very much at home, and it's fun to look at it and see how it's been adapted and turned into City Hall.
SONYA Margerum was first elected in 1980 and was in office until 2004. She passed away in 2019. For the first time ever, guests could face entry fees at the Indiana Dunes National Park. The National Park Service says they've seen a dramatic increase in visitors in recent years. In 2019 alone, more than 2 million people visited the park. The agency says they need more funding for park maintenance. The proposed entrance fees include $15 per person for people walking, bicycling, or boating into the park, or $20 for motorcyclists. Park officials will hold an online public meeting on the proposed fees this coming Wednesday. If approved, the fees would begin on March 31st, 2022. Food Finders is asking for the public's help. Find out how you can fight child hunger right here in Lafayette. And meteorologist Lisa Montgomery is tracking some sunny conditions along with some chances for rain. She'll give us a look at your weekend forecast right after this.
You're watching News 18 at 11. News from where you live.
Welcome back, everyone. Food Finders Food Bank needs your help making sure children aren't going hungry on the weekends. Now that kids are back in school, they need monetary donations for their backpack programs. Food Finders provides funding and food for most of the backpack programs in Lafayette. It sends food home with children in need on the weekends. Executive Director Katie Bunder says the pandemic has shifted focus from the program. However, she says it's something that benefits all kids.
It has to be a priority for our community to feed children and make sure that they can learn, and it affects everyone. It's not just about the low-income children, it's about the other children in that classroom that might be impacted by having people next to them that aren't learning well.
Food Finders is still assessing how many kids will take part in the backpack program this year. She says it's too soon to tell if there will be an increased need. However, they will accommodate if needed. Always good to help out in needed areas. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to this weekend because it's going to be beautiful outside.
Yes,
I'm not going to swelter walking down.
Right, and just plan on being outside all weekend long because it's going to be that nice. Yeah,
excited
very
about
pleasant.
it.
It's not too bad out there tonight. Temperatures are in the 70s, but you can feel the difference. You'll notice the difference with the dew points and the temperatures. They are beginning to really come down. And we do still have some spotty rain showers out there, but not a big deal on the light side. And those will continue to move out of the area and dissipate. We do have a few spotty showers there. You can see to the north of Lafayette stretching up through, and we're also looking down into our southern communities as well. So hopefully these will begin to come to an end. We do expect to have clear to partly cloudy skies overnight, and this is all due to a cold front that is actually now pushing through to the south of Indianapolis. So that's where we're seeing all the shower activity. You can see stretching from Pennsylvania, Ohio, down through the southern tip there of Illinois and through the central and southern plains. There's still some shower activity, and we did have a couple brief thunderstorms with the brief heavy downpours, the cloud to ground lightning, and that quickly dissipated and moved out of here too for this evening. So not a bad night out there. Right now we've got 74 degrees. We do have some clouds around with the light rain. Dew point it continues to fall. 66, the relative humidity is at 79%, and those winds are out of the northeast now at 3 miles an hour. So our winds have shifted. They are now from the north, bringing in that cooler, drier air. And it will be a cooler night tonight as we do fall back into the upper 50s. Right now we are in the 60s, even to the 70s, but you can see cooler in Rensselaer, 63, and we're going to continue to see those numbers fall, and as well as the dew points. You can see even the dew points here are a little bit cooler, and that's where the northerly flow of air is coming. So we'll see from north to south a nice change in our weather pattern. In fact, overnight lows, take a look at this. We haven't seen this for quite some time. We've been staying in the upper 60s into the upper 70s over the whole entire week with the stormy weather, those heat indices in the triple value in triple digits. So we're not going to see that for the weekend. We've got a really nice break from all the heat and the humidity. So we're looking good. In fact, take a look at our forecast. I think you're going to like it. We planned this out nicely. 80 degrees for Saturday, 81 rather, with mostly sunny skies. We're going to drop down into the lower 50s once again for tomorrow night. So another night maybe to turn off the AC and crack open that window, enjoy the fresh air. And then for Sunday, another beautiful day, 80 degrees, mostly sunny, falling back to around 60 degrees. Even Monday is looking fabulous. Lots of sunshine as we head back to work with a high of 82. And this is pretty seasonal for this time of the year. Lows at night in the low 60s. And then we begin to see things heat up, and those humidity levels are going to creep up as well. By Wednesday and Thursday, we're looking at a heat index possibly around 90 degrees. So it looks like the humidity is back. Not quite as bad as what we had this week, but really just we'll look forward to the weekend and enjoy that.
It's going to be nice to go out to the Mosey. Hopefully some people will get out there tonight.
Yes.
Not tonight, tomorrow.
Tomorrow night. You did the same thing I did at 6.
Well, my mind is on the weekend. I'm like already on the weekend.
It's been a crazy week, and it's been a busy
been.
night. So yeah, tomorrow's Mosey on Main, absolutely fabulous.
All right.
Hopefully everyone gets down there and enjoys that downtown
Definitely.
Lafayette.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much.
Okay.
Coming up just after the break, our Friday night frenzy. It's back. Local athletes playing in a preseason scrimmage under the lights tonight. JD Arland and Bree Shackelford have the highlights when we come back. Stick with us.
Thank you. It's all good. Got it eventually.
Mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2 3, mic check 1 2 3 4. JD, mic check.
Mic check. Hey everybody, welcome into the Friday Night Frenzy. JD Arland, Bree Shackelford here to. Thanks.
God damn.
It's the Friday Night Frenzy on News 18. Sports from where you live.
You know what time it is. Welcome into the Friday Night Frenzy Scrimmage Edition. I am JD Arlen. She is Bree Shackelford. Bree, local teams back in action. There's just nothing like those Friday nights under an Indiana sunset.
Oh, that's right, JD, and it feels even better this year to be back out with teams. We've got 4 local games on our show tonight. Now, on most weeks, we'll have 8, but tonight is a practice run for us, just like our area athletes.
All right, we begin tonight with the Salisbury Street Shootout at Harrison High School. A.J. Ricker Field rocking out, full capacity for preseason. The only thing missing is an opposing team. Westside arrived with less than 10 minutes until the game. Second and goal, Max Mullis under center. Play action, rolls right, and lets it fly. It's caught in the end zone through traffic. Hannah Melkai makes the snag. That one called back, so let's see what the Raiders can do. Tyler Kanoy in the varsity offense. O-line buys their QB some time. Kanoy will have to keep it. RDP's JT Downey stuffs him, and the Red Devils keep on rolling. Mullis likes that idea of a QB sneak. Number 9 waltzes into the end zone. Of course, no score tonight. You only win by having fun. It looks like the Raider students are up by 90 in that department. All right, moments later, Brennan Gothrop disappears with the football. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is, and oh, there he goes. Week 1 is less than 7 days away. Raider head coach Terry Peebles says Friday nights like this are a limited resource.
You only get a certain amount of them. You're only guaranteed 10, and if you get hurt, you might not even get 10 games in. So if you don't savor it while you're doing it, you're going to look back on it when you're old and fat like me and say, man, I wish I would have had more time doing it.
Well, we're staying in Lafayette as McCutcheon football hosted North Montgomery for their scrimmage tonight, and the cheerleaders weren't the only ones making moves. Quarterback Ethan Smith is back on the field and throws a beauty of a pass to Cameron Little, and wow, that is a nice catch. Mavs advance. Moments later, Smith hands the ball off to Brad Gagnon, who fights through multiple players to find some real estate, and he goes all the way. And Gagnon's really showing us that his strength training this summer has paid off. On defense, the Mavs were looking not too shabby as multiple players come and stuff the quarterback. JD, I wouldn't want to get hit like that.
No way.
Next time you'll be able to see the Mavs in action will be next Friday at home as they take on the Garing Catholic Golden Eagles.
All right, keep it rolling elsewhere at La Rocca Field. Central Catholic taking on Frankfort. Unfortunately for the Hot Dogs, the grill on South 9th Street was extra hot, opening Frankfort possession. Play action, Doug Wood looking, fires left, look out! Picked off by Bryn Robbins, he runs it back for 6, and that's not the last we'll hear from him. Knights in the red zone. Senior quarterback Clark Barrett looks over the middle, finds Robbins, the sophomore, waltzes in for the score, but the Hot Dogs eventually get a little something cooking. Wood will drop back and send it 35 yards to Sam Michael, who pulls it in for a Frankfort touchdown. Knights have the upper hand in this one. They'll take on Tri-West next week in their season opener.
Well, that was a beautiful sneak preview of what's to come from the Knights this year. Central Catholic begins its season on the road for 3 weeks. The Knights will return back to Lafayette on September 10th.
Yeah, the Class 2A now, Central Knights taking a road trip. All right, 3 highlights down, 1 to go. Coming up after the break, we take a trip to Oxford. Benton Central squaring off with South Newton. New BC head coach Andy Standifer and the Bison tuning up. We'll be right back after this quick timeout. Stick with us.
It's the Friday Night Frenzy on News 18. Sports from where you live.
Highlights from where you live, too. We're back on the Friday Night Frenzy. We've got one stop left, and we're headed to Oxford.
And let me tell you, JD, that trip out west did not disappoint as Benton Central put on a nice show. The Bison took on the South Newton Rebels in their scrimmage tonight. And let me tell you, folks, the weather couldn't have been more beautiful for some football. Bison ball and quarterback Joe Weidmer has a nice toss pass pack to Josh Etter. He moves up the field nicely and gets his team the much-needed first down. Moving on, the Bison defense had something to prove tonight. South Newton is on the ball and the long pass is complete, but defensive back Holden Dino stops the run and pushes the Rebels out of bounds. Later on, Bison back on the ball and Weidmer finds his man Seth Plummer in some light traffic, but the pass is caught. Bison advance. Next snap is Bison ball and Weidmer has time in the pocket and thank God he does. Let me tell you, he finds Corbin Cooley, only this time in the end zone for a Bison touchdown. BC looked good tonight in their scrimmage, but they have a tough opponent next week as they prepare to take on Delphi next Friday night.
Camp Frenzy is sponsored by your local State Farm agent, Trent Johnson.
While we're sticking with the team from Oxford, the Benton Central Bison have only won a single game in the last 3 years.
Yeah, Bree, but new head coach Andy Standifer is trying to change that outcome with a unique approach. Check this out. The Bison have spent this offseason getting closer as a team off the field. Back in July, we showed you BC's Community Day. Bison football players rebuilt stands for the Dan Patch Community Festival in Oxford. The results from that and similar events have already begun to pay off. Senior Will Harmon says the closeness of this group inspired players from all grade levels to put in work this summer.
Just everybody showing up to workouts and putting in work on scout team, as well as some freshmen maybe starting, and they're giving it their all and helping us improve for the season.
I really like the workouts we did this summer. I lost 20 pounds, so I feel way more conditioned than I've been before every season. We really worked through our offense this summer, so I'm feeling a lot more confident about that going into the season.
Well, we're switching gears to baseball, and the Lafayette Aviators played in the Prospect League Championship's final game last night. Sadly, our boys were not able to pull out a win. The Aviators ended their season at low. However, they did lead for much of the game. Jason Newman pulled out a 3-run homer to give the Aviators a nice lead, but Cape came all the way back to tie the game up in the 6th inning. In the top of the 10th, Cape scored 2 runs to take a lead it would never sacrifice. 10-8 the final score. The Cape Catfish take out the Aviators and claim the Prospect League title. Lafayette closes out the season, though, on somewhat of a high note with 2 regular season division titles, a postseason division title, and a conference championship. Newman reflects on his time with the organization.
Lafayette's home, and you know, a lot of these guys, they mean the world to me, and you know, they're going to play crucial roles in my life. Can't speak highly enough of the organization, top to bottom, everyone that helps out. You know, it's a tough way to go out. You know, obviously not what we planned, not what we hoped for, but for the month, you know, it was amazing, and I'm never going to forget it.
We are never going to forget it either. All right, switch over to Purdue football. The Boilers welcome in IU transfer Samson James. James announced his commitment via Twitter today. The running back departed from the other state school last week, that is Indiana University. James was a 4-star recruit out of high school and originally committed to Ohio State before leaving for IU. Right now it's unknown if he'll be eligible for this upcoming season. James is the 2nd player to transfer from Indiana, joining defensive lineman Damari Lewis. During his time at IU, James rushed for 371 yards and had 3 touchdowns, and maybe not that great of a performance, but Purdue's Rondale Moore is in action with the Arizona Cardinals. We'd show you that game, but it's still in progress. So, Bree, I know you have highlights coming tomorrow, but hey, wrapping up your first Frenzy, what was it like?
Oh my gosh, it was electrifying. I loved every single second of Frenzy, and I cannot wait for next week when we go to see more schools and cheer on our home teams.
Absolutely. Yeah, this show is electrifying, that's right, but more so, I just couldn't believe the energy in all of those stadiums. It's so nice to see them packed to the brim, students back out there supporting their team. There's just nothing like Indiana high school football.
And I know that this is your first time on the desk for Frenzy, so how'd that feel for you?
Yes, it does feel very good. I started here as an intern on this show, but it is nice to finally be in this position. All right, Bree, take us home.
All right, well that does it for this week's edition of the Friday Night Frenzy. Make sure to visit our website, WLFI.com, and click on the Sports tab for highlights from tonight's game.
Week 0 in the books. The regular season begins next time. We'll take a 167-hour timeout and see you right back here next week.